All right, guys, it's time for my ultimate guide for you to become a pro in Anime Expeditions, the game that just released. First up, if you guys want to get early access for free, you guys can hop in the time chamber, and there's ways to, AFK that pretty easily. But yeah, so hop in the time chamber if you guys want EA and to get in the game. And first up, this event right here is going to give you your first free mythic. So make sure you guys complete this event ASAP, and it's going to give you access to a special event banner. All right. Now the event banner goes away once you get your first mythic, but it will give you a free mythic, and I got Yuta, and that's basically, pretty insane, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll grab this, and we'll grab this, claim all, and release calendar, and there we go. So you'll also get yourself a free True Saint from this if you used basically anything, and if you do the AFK, you will also get the shiny version as well for free, and they are both pretty decent units. All right, next up, some units you guys need to get are the money units, guys. Ramen Guy is right here as a legendary. He's basically free. And then we have Stone Alchemist as well. He's also another money unit. Again, money units in this game are pretty much the best thing ever. Like, you can do the Wave 0 glitch. So let me show you what the Wave 0 glitch is. This one also works in games like All-Star Tower Defense. So this is the story map. This is kind of how it works. You do have a chance of getting some unit equipment. Unit equipment are like orbs in All-Star Tower Defense. You can equip them and unequip them to your units, which is pretty sweet. You also have normal mode and hard mode. You guys can see there is different first time rewards for both. Make sure you guys get all the first time rewards you can. This is kind of like Anime Defenders, where the first time rewards are pretty freaking sweet. So you can do first time on normal and hard, and that will get you quite a few decent amounts of gems. They also have matchmaking as well, if you guys do desire that. All right, so let's hop in a match, and I'm going to show you guys the Wave 0 glitch. At this point, it's probably intentional game design, but this is something you need to know as a beginner because it's free money. So you place your unit before it starts, all right, and it's going to show up as a ghost. All right, what does that mean? So a ghost unit will be placed as soon as you're able to afford it. All right, you guys see how this works? 1, the wave is going to start. We're going to get some money. And then 2 right there, guys. So you see that? So basically what this means is if you place a farm before the wave starts, you are going to get 550 cash for free, which is the cost to place the farm. So basically, if you place a farm on wave 0, you will get a free farm unit. All right, and that is pretty sweet. All right. Next up, what units should you go for? All right, first up, you're going to probably want to get any legendary you can to start out with. And then you're going to want to get a mythic for free from the banner. Now, what mythics are decent? Doflamingo is a good DPS, and so is Yuta. All right, they're both pretty great DPSs. I would highly recommend those. Elf Mage is also a pretty good DPS as well. All right, definitely highly recommended. Blaze is also a pretty sweet DPS. So is Lady Giant. So a lot of the mythics are pretty good DPS. Now, some of them are support. As of right now, the Cursed Speech User, he is going to be your go-to slow unit. I believe he might be the only slow unit in the game that I know of that's like a mythic. There might be some freeze units, etc., but he's going to be a great slow unit for you to use, and I have him personally. He's pretty easy to get. All right, so let's go beat this round, and I'm going to show you a little bit of how the end game works here. Also, they do have the update logs, and if you guys want codes, all right, codes are okay, well, right here under redeem codes. You guys can redeem the codes here. I believe the codes will probably be EA and then EA Plus, and then probably release will probably end up being, yeah, release is a code as well. That one should work for everybody. The other codes I think will only work for depending on where you are not allowed to claim this code. Wait, what? Oh, wow. So EA is, oh my gosh, it says you're not, that's interesting. So there will be some codes, but code release and code EA and code EA Plus, depending on which section of the EA you are a part of. All right, let's go beat this. Also, there is no 2x speed. You can click here to view your quests. Quests are also a great way for you guys to get gems, etc. If you guys want me to make a best gems guide in this, let me know down below, and maybe that'll be my next video. And these are kind of the other stuff you guys can get. Here's an example of what the orbs do. I have a kunai, 8% damage, and SPA. Now you can only equip one of each type, so keep that in mind. You can't have 2 kunais on one unit. So that's kind of a little bit annoying, but I guess it might add a little bit more to the game. All right, hopefully I don't die to this boss. All right, also in settings, there's some pretty good settings that I would recommend you take a look at. Auto skip waves. Honestly, some of these waves are kind of hard, but you might want to use that. All right, now you can do this, guys. You can turn this off if you want to grind faster, because at the end you have to click through all the rewards. So this will make it faster. All right. And auto next, if you guys want to just like blast through the story, is pretty nice. This one, if you want a macro, is pretty nice. As of right now, I don't see any built-in macros, but there is lots of ways for you guys to decrease the graphics in case you guys are on like, you know, like there's even daytime and nighttime. If you guys don't want to, like, yeah, look at this, guys. There's all this stuff if you guys have like bad internet or bad, like your PC's bad. There's lots of great stuff. All right, you can even turn off the update log, etc. Like the settings in this game are pretty robust. Those are kind of just a few that I recommend. So this is what it looks like at the end of the game. You get your new rewards. So basically what that means is you want to beat all the stories because they're going to give you all the first time rewards, which are worth it to grind. All right, when I make the gem guide, I'll talk a little bit more about that. All right, you can change this to hidden on login as well, which is pretty nice. So it says 14 new units. So this is kind of what we're rocking with, guys, as far as units go, but they're all kind of there. And there is some cool skins as well you guys can get. And there is a lot of freaking cool of these as well, too. They have a battle pass. Now, you get the battle pass by defeating enemies or quests. So you guys can either macro for the battle pass, or you can just go through your normal quests. And by quest, it means these right here. You have daily, weekly, and unit-based quests. So you can enter a trial, and it'll give you a student ID for the unit. I believe it could be any unit. Let me see here. But yeah, they do have unit trials. These were kind of used in, I believe it was ASTDX. Those were kind of popular. So yeah, you guys got the option of unit trials. If you want to increase your inventory size, it's going to cost you a lot of gold. All right, it's 1,000 per slot, which isn't too bad. And you can quick sell as well. And you can kind of like select just whatever you want to sell. Honestly, if you are looking for like great units to start off with, Scissor is a really common one. A lot of people are starting off with. She has some pretty good DPS. Ice Queen has freeze, which is pretty nice. So it's kind of like more of like a time stop type effect. And Salmon Sorcerer has the slow, which it doesn't show on here for some reason. Not really sure why, but that's kind of what he has going on with him. And then Yuta has bleed. Now, what traits are there in the game? You guys are probably asking. So let me go over the traits real quick, so you guys kind of, you know, have an idea of traits. Stat potential is a little bit annoying. It's just kind of the standard stat potential in the game. It does go all the way up to Z's though. So you could theoretically get triple Z's on a unit. And it also has worthiness as well. And I believe when you evo a unit, it will go up. There is ascensions. So what this means, if you get multiple of a mythic, you can use these sprite purples to ascend your unit. And what happens when you ascend, you guys can kind of see it gets like a little bit more damage. Nothing really too crazy. All right, you can also craft a lot of things. For example, this is what you need to craft if you would want to ascend Yuta. So ascending is actually pretty easy in this game. You really you really just need multiple mythics. As you guys can kind of see, the sprite purples were pretty easy for us to get. So if you do ever get one, you can get like a small tiny buff, but it's nothing to really write home about. All right, as far as traits go, all right, the best trait in the game is Unbound. Increased damage by 350%. This is kind of like unique in anime adventures. Decreased range by, yeah, well, let me zoom in there for you guys. So yeah, basically it's the single placement trait. Primordial is all right. It's going to increase damage by 35%. Now this is actually pretty decent. I would say depending on how many placement your units have, it could be better. Forsaken is great for a crit damage unit, and crit chance by 35% is pretty sweet. Draconic is what I have right now. This is kind of the DOT unit trait. If you have a DOT unit, you might want to consider Draconic. There is a money farm trait for investor. Not bad. Optics for range, and then, you know, kind of some other standard ones that don't really need to go over. If you do want a good trait, if you add up these numbers, so 1%, 3%, 0.6%, 1.1% chance, guys. So if you have 100, you might be able to get something decent. Okay, not too bad at all for the rates. I haven't had a problem getting trait rerolls yet, I will say. Also, there is secret units in the game. So if we take a look at the summon, there is 3 banners: the beginner banner, which I don't have anymore, standard banner, and mini banner. Now the mini banner does not have a secret pity. However, the nice thing about the mini banner is you can choose the unit you want to get, and it's basically guaranteed, which is kind of nice. Now the standard banner is nice because you have a chance of getting a secret unit. All right, now you can summon by like a 10x like there. However, I didn't notice this at first, but this is the beginner's guide, so I'll show you. if you take a look at here, you can change it all the way up to 50x, and you can do a 50x bomb. All right, and the colors mean what kind of unit you're gonna get. You really don't want to get yellow. You want to get like rainbow color. All right, yellow means you only got legendaries. All right, so there we go. We got a quest complete, perfect. And that'll give us some battle pass. Also, there's a lot of areas in this game. So here we go, upgrades. This is kind of like the general area for all this madness. And there is an evolution for units. I believe every mythic can evolve, which is different than ascension. So you guys can kind of see you need to beat the trial. And then the other stuff isn't too hard to get, like Sprite Blue and Sprite Purple. Like, I'll be honest, I could probably evo this guy pretty easily. I just got to beat this unit quest right there. And oh, and you can just click it and it will send you right there, guys. So there you go. So that's pretty easy. And the rest of it isn't too bad either. All right, I think I might have enough materials to evolve him into the next one, which would be pretty sick. All right, considering how good his trait is already. So it's really, really easy to do that. Also, some other areas you guys are going to want to take a look at: level milestones. All right, this is going to get you a little bit of free gems and free traits. It's pretty easy to get to a decent level in this game. And I haven't even started to macro yet. Macro videos coming soon if you guys would like those. All right. And gold shop is kind of nice. The nice thing about the gold shop is you can buy stuff like these. They refresh pretty often, and you can just use these to max level your units very quickly. So that is very nice about that. And they do have some cosmetics if you are into that. All right. Also, all these events, keep an eye on. They got some pretty cool stuff. Event quest, defeat a boss node. Okay, interesting. And that you guys can get some pretty cool quests and whatnot. Shout out to Sebi, he got his thing. That's awesome. And then they have some things as well that are more limited that are going to start later for, you know, after the game is released for everybody. So there you go. There's my beginner's guide. Let me know down below any other tips and tricks you guys have, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.